Armenia says nearly 93,000 people have now fled the breakaway region of Nagorno-Karabakh. That's more than three-quarters of the population. There's been a mass exodus of ethnic Armenians since the region's leaders signed a ceasefire agreement with Azerbaijan last week after an Azeri military offensive. The United Nations is warning that the entire population of Nagorno-Karabakh could leave. Well, we can talk now to Carey, Cavanaugh, who's a former US ambassador and co-chair of the OSCE Minsk group. Good to see you again, Carey. Thanks for talking to us. So give us a status update, if you will, of the situation in Nagorno-Karabakh. What's happened so far and where are we now?
I mean, what we're looking at is literally the entire population will have left the territory in the space of about 5 days. It's a humanitarian disaster, and there's efforts to support the population as they're leaving. And Azerbaijan repeatedly says this is not ethnic cleansing, but they've created an environment where none of the people feel safe to stay. No international presence has been allowed into the region, and they're in effect have set up a one-way road. And this appears to be the modern image of ethnic cleansing, a highway chock full of people fleeing for their safety.
So how did we get to this point? I mean, it's been a disputed region for some time, declared independence 32 years ago. Why did Azerbaijan choose to take back this territory now?
It's a sad moment in that there had been peace talks underway. They had shown some promise even. There was the expectation Armenia had said it would recognize Azerbaijan's territorial integrity. At the same time, they chose that moment to use force to recapture the part of territory that had broken away. It had always been their territory. That was never in question. The question was about self-determination of the local population. And because of a 10-month blockade on the region, blocking all food, medicine shipments in, and then the renewed fighting, people simply don't trust the statement, we'll treat you like all our other citizens. They're afraid there would be punishment, reprisal, and human rights abuses.
So we're seeing a large proportion of the ethnic Armenian population leaving. Where do you think they will ultimately end up?
I suspect most will settle in Armenia. A lot of them, as they have hit the border, are being greeted by cousins and uncles and aunts and taken immediately to those homes to help provide for them. The UN High Commissioner on Refugees had an expectation of having to accommodate maybe 70,000. They've gone beyond that number by 20, and the entire population is probably at best 120,000. And it truly means there may only be a handful of people left in this entire region by the end of the weekend.
So what do you make of the separatist leaders' decision to dissolve all the state institutions in Nagorno-Karabakh and basically make the state cease to exist? Or what are the implications of that?
Well, that was part of the agreement, that it was an unconditional surrender. Azerbaijan said that the fighting would only stop if they agreed to lay down their arms and immediately disband all the state institutions. But again, that casts a huge question for the local population of where will the police come from? How will we be protected? Who will be elected officials? All of that was lost by use of force.
And what about international observers coming into the region? How important could the influence of international monitoring be?
I think it would have been vital 4 days ago, before the bulk of the population fled. But what the population on the ground is seeing is that Azerbaijan's not allowing anyone in. So there's limited amounts of relief shipments, and there's no foreign presence. There's lots of rumors of soldiers committing acts of violence that they shouldn't have. There's rumors of the destruction of historic sites, but there's no one on the ground that isn't an Azerbaijani to confirm those. So people flee, and there's no one to provide assistance. If you wish to stay in your home and you saw people from UNICEF, international NGOs providing humanitarian relief, you would be more comforted. We'll be taken care of. This will be watched. The world is paying attention. I believe the world is paying attention, but Azerbaijan has not allowed them into the region to be able to make those people feel comfortable they could stay and would not be mistreated.
Carey Cavanaugh, former US ambassador and co-chair of the OSCE Minsk group. Good to talk to you today. Thank you for joining us on the programme.
Thank you.